Of Queen and Yonge in downtown Toronto, where for the next 3 weeks, the Toronto Humane Society has taken the show on the road. And we'll be featuring cats like that little guy in there on the show each and every week. You can also adopt this little fella, Smokey, down here at the window, and other cats here at the Bay. On the program today, we're going to be talking about pets and Christmas and what to do with them during the holiday season, especially with the tree and presents and gifts, and how to deal with the guests who are going to come over and family as far as, you know, getting along with your pets. So stay tuned, because we've got Valerie Brown coming up right now with our stray cat section here on Adopt a Pet.
The Toronto Humane Society presents Adopt a Pet.
Hi, I'm Valerie Brown, and we're in the stray cat room at the Toronto Humane Society shelter. And the first little kitty that I'm going to show you is having a rest after a busy morning. And he was found at the intersection of Eglinton and Royal York. He's about 4 months old, and as you can see, he's a charcoal cat with short hair. Probably it's pretty hard for you to see, but he does not have a collar on, which is why he ended up here. And if he had an ID tag with a collar or a microchip, we would have been able to call the owner. However, we'd like them to come down and identify their cat with a picture, and then he can go home and play with his toys at home instead of making a big mess out of his cage there. And next we have a nice little girl, and she's about 9 months old. She was found at the intersection of Dufferin and Davenport. If you are interested, or if this is your cat, once again she has no ID on, so it's going to be difficult to determine, because she is a tabby and often they look alike. But her receipt number is 118288. And the next cat, the next stray, is very interested in what's going on here, and a very nice cat, another female. She was found at the intersection of Dundas and Brock, and she's about 1 to 2 years old, a nice black and white short hair cat. Looks like she might have been outside for a while, got a little scratch on her arm there, but other than that, she's very friendly, likes to be on camera and eating away. But she was once again lost on the 6th, and she's looking for her owner. And we've got our last but not least little stray here. Actually, he's a nice boy. He's a nice big boy. He's about 10 months old, domestic medium hair, and he was found at the intersection of Riverside and Bloor West, and he was found on December the 5th. And he'd be pretty identifiable if you had a photograph of him to bring down. And maybe at that time you could inquire at our clinic about having him microchipped, so that if he ever gets out of your house again, then we can call you right away, and he'd be able to go home right away instead of sitting here in the stray room.
You can call the Toronto Humane Society's main number to report a lost pet 24 hours a day. That number is 416-392-2273. Or visit the shelter between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. 7 days a week to see if your lost pet was brought in. The Toronto Humane Society is located at 11 River Street at the intersection of River and Queen Street East.
Here we are in the stray dog room, and we're going to look at some strays that have come into us recently. The first one is a 5-month-old retriever cross, a female. She's a very friendly dog. She came in from Maine and Gerard on December the 3rd. And she was only wearing a choke collar. There's no license, no rabies tag on her, which is why we weren't able to contact the owner. All these dogs, and actually the cats that we saw previously, are ones that had no ID, which is why they're here, and we haven't been able to get the owner. This dog, very unusual to have a nice purebred Cocker Spaniel. He's about 6 years old, a neutered male, and he was found at Yonge and Dundas on December the 5th. Once again, he was only wearing a choke collar, so we weren't able to contact his owner, although obviously, since he's groomed, been shaved, and no mats on him, he is owned. one of the things that we advocate is microchipping. So that's a good idea. You can have it done at our clinic. And here's a very nice little girl. She's about 2 years old, and she actually likes the camera. I see she came from Midland and Eglinton on December the 4th. She's a Sheltie Terrier cross, and she's quite distinctive. So if you have a photograph, bring it down and you can identify her as your dog. It's a very nice dog. The next dog coming up is actually quite interesting because it's a younger dog, and obviously none of these dogs should have been outside, but especially a little pup like this. This little cutie is a female. She's only 10 weeks. She was found at Dufferin College on December the 5th. And someone obviously owns her because she has a very nice collar on, brand new actually. But once again, there's no license, there's no ID, she has no microchip. So if she had any of those ID things, we could have found the owner. Now we'll be going with myself and Wallace at the bay to the adoption dogs.
If you think you might be interested in adopting one of the animals featured on today's Adopt a Pet, please call the adoption hotline number at the Toronto Humane Society, 416-392-9988, and ask about the animal by name. Better yet, visit the shelter located at 11 River Street at the intersection of River and Queen Street East. Adoption hours are weekdays 11:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., Saturdays 11:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and Sundays 11:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. There are many, many animals waiting to be adopted into good homes, so visit the Toronto Humane Society and adopt a friend for life.
Welcome back to the dog adoption segment of the program. And here we are at the Adoption Center and Gift Booth in the Bay at the corner of Queen and Yonge with a very, very scared and frightened, it seems, Hannah. Valerie, tell us a little bit about Hannah.
Well, Hannah's been with us for about a month now at least, and you might have seen her in the stray segment actually. She's about 10 years old, and as you can see, she's a very large dog, somewhat overweight.
It's okay.
But she's actually very nice and quite calm normally. She didn't like the car ride over. And she walks really well on her leash, and she's a good girl.
Excellent. Now, she's a pretty big dog.
Yep, and actually, you know, she brings up something really interesting, which unfortunately you probably can't see at home.
Sit down, sweetheart.
But you see how her tips of her ears are not, they're not like a normal dog.
Uh-oh.
And that's more than likely because she was a backyard dog. And she was allowed to live outside, and she probably got a little bit of frostbite from the cold. And flies actually will go and sort of lay their eggs on their ears, which destroys the ear tissue. So that's why dogs should be in your home with your family.
And especially this time of year, we should talk about the dogs being inside the home, Hannah being in your home, with a whole bunch of guests coming over.
Oh, yeah.
What's the best way to deal with all the people, even if it's family, little people, aunts and uncles, and, you know, a dog?
Well, you know, the problem is that there's so much commotion, lots of things that can happen. The dog might get outside and then run away. And the other thing that may happen is they may unwittingly give your dog treats or let it, you know, places it shouldn't
the Christmas cake.
That's right. So
not only is it bad for you.
Yeah, that's right. And for her too, that's maybe what she got into. But you just have to really lay down the rules for your guests like you would with your animal and your family. You know, tell them no treats and tell them when they come in the house, beware, there's an animal here, don't let it out, etc. You know.
So would you say the best thing to do is to put the dog into another room, say into a bedroom or something like that, or do you let the dog go throughout the house?
I would say when the people are first arriving and there's a lot of commotion, then I would put it in a separate room. But once everything's settled, people are in, you know, maybe after dinner, then it can come out and visit.
Good stuff. Now what about a dog the size of Hannah with a Christmas tree? I mean, she's going to be about the same height as where the presents are going to be. A little piece of advice.
Well, yeah, Hannah might be in there having a look, especially if you have some dog presents for her. But I guess the...
Oh, big dog.
Yeah, that's right, pushing you over. That's what she do to the tree. Just trying supervise her and don't let her alone with the tree and the presents. Oops,
Okay,
and the socks.
It looks like Hannah wants to go, so we better let her go. And we'll bring into another dog. Okay, thanks, Hannah. Come on down to, not the bay to adopt Hannah, but if you want to, you can, without a problem, here at the Adoption Center and Gift Booth inside the bay, corner of Queen and Yonge. Or you can go to the regular Humane Society at the corner of Queen Street East and River in downtown Toronto. And look at this fella. He's been on before. It's
Yep,
Dagwood.
it's Dagwood.
How are you today? Yeah, you smell Hannah. Tell us a little bit about Dagwood.
Well, Dagwood, as you know, is he's an older dog, and actually he likes car rides. I saw him in the van. He's very calm. He's waiting to go home in a car, I think.
Look at that.
But he's also a special dog who needs to sort of go into retirement like Hannah, into a quiet home. And he's been waiting a long time now, and I don't know why someone hasn't adopted him, because he's beautiful on a leash. He just loves people. He is the nicest, most well-trained dog.
Maybe some older dogs get a bad rap because, you know, people go, I don't know what to feed them, especially
Yeah.
this time of year. You know, you're running around. Maybe you can't give that much attention to an older dog. But it's not that much different to look after an older dog than a puppy.
Actually, I personally think it's a lot simpler to look after an older dog. You know, he would have something like a senior diet, and that's all he would get. He wouldn't get the treats, and being a puppy, he needs attention, but he's not always underfoot, and you don't have to worry about his house training and obedience training, because he has that already.
He's an old dog set in his ways.
That's right.
Can't teach.
And he knows all the tricks, though.
Now, let's talk about pets at Christmas time. Some people like to be able to, want to give pets as presents. And at the Humane Society, folks say, no way, that's
No.
not good.
And
Tell us why.
that's really never a good idea, because in the first place, you don't know if the person really wants a pet. And the best bet that we suggest to people is if you're really set on giving them a pet, is maybe say you're interested in giving them a dog like Dagwood. Go out and buy a bowl and a dog bed and a bone, give it to the person and say, I'm going to take you down to the Humane Society, and then you can pick out a dog that you like. And then probably you would do that after Christmas and New Year's, after all the commotions settle down in your home. And people, that's the exact same thing, but you haven't introduced a pet into a lot of excitement and everybody's happy.
And it doesn't seem that Dagwood would be too bad of a fella to have around the house at this time of year. A lot of folks are down here at the bay talking to the people at the Adoption Center and the gift booth, checking things out, and Dagwood too, just fitting in, just really, really
Yep.
well. Very
Yep.
good. So again, if you want to be able to come down and adopt Dagwood, not a problem here at the bay, but if you want to go and see him where he is at the shelter, go to the corner of Queen Street East and River here in Toronto and get Dagwood, take him home, or Hannah, our first dog.
Yep,
Great.
they both love to go home.
Absolutely. And joining us in just a few minutes will be Valerie with some cats. But just right now, we're going to go meet some dogs that are up for adoption here on Adopt-A-Pet.
Here we have Rockwell. He's an 8-month-old Staffordshire Terrier cross. He's very friendly and very energetic, so you're going to need to take him to obedience training and probably not have him with young children, but he'd be very happy to go to your home. Next we have Jack. Jack is a 2-year-old lab mix. He's a very friendly dog. He's unfortunately here because his owners could not deal with him anymore. They had to move away. Jack is very friendly. He also knows some obedience. If you'd like to have him, come down and ask for number 3552. The next dog up we have is Reno. Reno's full of beans, as you can see, very excited to see us in here. He's a Doberman Shepherd cross and he's a male neutered. He's about 8 months old. He also will need some obedience training, but he's going to be a lively, fun dog for your family. The next dog is Candace. Candace is very shy, as you can see. She hasn't been here with us very long and she's afraid of all the noise. She's about 2 years old, a Doberman cross. Unfortunately, whoever had her before didn't feed her very well, as you can see, and she's going to need to go to a home that will give her some high quality food and give her lots of love. And our last real bundle of fun is Bugsy. Bugsy is 10 months old and a cross Shepherd Terrier. Bugsy has been with us for quite a while, which I don't really know why, because Bugsy's very friendly and very, very much, well, actually kind of a handful and lots of fun when he's out on a walk.
Welcome back to the cat adoption segment of the program. And with Valerie and myself here at the Adoption Center and Gift Booth in the Bay, not outside, but in the Bay, are Felix and Sylvester.
Yep.
Now you've got Sylvester.
I do.
And I've got Felix then.
Hard to tell apart though.
Are they? Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, they're two little brothers. They're about 3 months old, and they're both males, obviously, if they're brothers. They came in as strays.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and now they're looking for a home. And they just actually passed their stray time today, and they're quite excited because they're going to be in the bay windows, waving at people on the street. And
curled up in a big couch or lounging on a huge chair or something like that?
Yeah, probably like one of the cats swinging off the drapes out there. But anyways, right now they're a little nervous being out here in the middle of the store, but when they're in the window, they just calm down so much because it's very quiet in there. And actually, cats, they just love, they sleep in there, they play, they do everything a cat would do.
Kind of like a home.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about taking these two home. This time of the year, a lot of commotion, a lot of things are going on. You talked about hanging off a drape.
Yes.
Now, we don't want that to be happening, especially with the Christmas tree up and presents being around and family and friends coming over. What's a good piece of advice on how you can make sure that these cats are going to be okay with all the commotion?
Well, especially at this age, they're very active and they're very fast. So they're going to be up your tree before you even know it. You know, swinging off the garland and the tinsel. So the best advice is when you have young kittens like this is what I said before last week. I know it's really difficult for people to do, but if you can separate your tree into a closed-off room, that's the best idea. Or if not, at least anchor it to the wall. That's what I do at home. I have a little rope coming off my tree to
right into the plaster. Find a 2x4. Yes.
And don't put tinsel on because they'll be eating the tinsel. It gets in their stomach and their intestines, and it kind of rips their intestines apart. It's quite horrible. And no breakable ornaments.
But it looks like they'd get around in a surrounding, in a setting that's open with a lot of people because they're purring away here.
Oh yeah. No, they're probably ready to go and run away.
Good stuff. That's Felix and Sylvester down here at the adoption booth at the Bay. Queen and Young, downtown Toronto. But you can also, as mentioned with the dogs earlier on, oh, here comes Smokey. We featured him, that you're able to, apply for the adoption of them right here at the adoption booth. This is Smokey. This is the little guy who's in the intro.
Yes.
Tell us another kitten, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah, Smokey's really cute. Well, they're all cute, but anyways, he's a really cute little fella. Actually, I'm wrong, it's a female. There you go. But anyways, Smokey has something which isn't a big deal and can be corrected when she's spayed.
What's that?
She has an umbilical hernia. It's a very common thing. It doesn't hurt them, but it's a very simple thing. They just put a stitch in when she's spayed. But she's going to make someone a great kitten. Or a cat then eventually.
It's not going to affect her as far as diet or anything like that?
No.
What about when you first bring her home after the little corrective thing?
No, it's exactly the same as bringing her home from a regular space surgery. You just let her rest and be quiet, but you feed her regular food and she'll be fine.
Now what about a kitten this time of the year? Lots of presents, stockings to roam in and out of, bows, wrapping paper. Not good.
Don't use bows. Bows are bad.
Lots of things to think about with a cat in the house.
Oh yeah, I mean if you're the kind of person who likes your really fancy gifts and to be perfect, it won't work with a kitten. If you like gifts like that, keep them out of the tree until Christmas morning. Then bring them out, present them to the person then. Because if it's, say for example my cats, they just shred them. They see a bow or a piece of ribbon, it's gone. But and this little fart would be getting into that too. I mean, be running around playing with the gifts, finding the ones that are for him or her.
So not a problem with little children or anything like that this time of the year?
No, as long as kids are aware, like they should be any time of the year. Watch when you're going in and out of the door, and just watch that little old Smokey doesn't sneak out because she'll be wanting to do that. Being active, very active this age as well. She's about 10 weeks.
And don't mistake her as a present, wrap her up in a box or anything.
Definitely not.
Okay, so that's Smokey, and you can get her down at the corner of Queen Street East and River, or she'll be here featured in the Bay windows between now and the 22nd of December, sponsored by the Humane Society. We want to take this time right now to introduce our fourth cat.
Pepper.
This is Pepper. She's an older looking cat?
Yeah. Actually, that's interesting because she is, but she's not. She's only about a year.
Okay.
So that means she's got a nice long life ahead of her. And she's a very nice cat. When I was coming by on the streetcar going home last night, I saw her sleeping away on the settee in the middle window. She loves it here so much. You know, I think it's a nice break for them away from the shelter here.
Yeah, where
and
they're
a whole
always
new bunch of people to look at them and adopt them. So that's nice.
Like all the folks around here at the Bay today.
She's going to make someone a really nice pet because obviously she's very calm, doesn't mind new situations, and she's an adult already, so that's an advantage. I mean, she's going to go test out your tree, but she won't be running to the top like a lunatic like the other ones are.
Or be too intimidated with people coming over, or having little kids maybe going, "Hello, Pepper."
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah. Which, you know, really, as with the dogs, really the best idea is when there's a lot of commotion, people in and out a lot, put them in another room with their food and their blanket and their toys and their litter box in the case of a cat, and just let them settle down until everyone's calm, and then you can say to your guests, okay, I've got my cat, Pepper, and she's going to come out and visit you, but don't, you know, tell small children, don't swing her around by the tail.
Don't make too much of a fuss.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, as far as feeding a cat, like turkey's a bad thing for them this time of the year.
Yes, cats and dogs. They shouldn't have any of your Christmas dinner. And people are inclined to think turkey's good but it's not. It could give them diarrhea. It could also make them vomit. And worse yet, they could get into the bones, and then they could be choking to death or something like that. So beware.
Some good words of wisdom here with Pepper. And we also had, who was the little one? The little one was Smokey. And then the first two, Felix and Sylvester.
Yeah.
Now they're down here until they get adopted in the bay windows. And we're going to meet some other ones who aren't at the bay window right now, but who are up for adoption.
This pretty little girl is Sprite. Her ID number in adoption is 3922. And she is very playful. She's actually resting right now, but she'd like to probably have a friend, which I'll show you later, which I think would be a good friend for her. But anyway, she's up in the adoption room right now. She's 4 years old, and now she's having a little rest. This is Buddy, a beautiful male neutered cat. His number is 3967 in the adoption room. He's 3 years old. He's actually quite talkative and very friendly. He'd love to run around your house and have some fun, although he doesn't like other cats. This very playful little girl, as you can see by her cage's name, is Lucky. Her number is 3019. And this is the girl that I thought would be a good friend for Sprite, the earlier cat that we saw. She's very playful and really wants to go to a home, probably where there's another cat. These two big cats are Bonnie and Clyde. They're about 10 years old, male neutered and female spayed. Their numbers are 118337 and 118338. They've lived together for 10 years and want to go home together. This very affectionate big fellow's name is Bert. His number is 3918. He's a neutered male, 10 years old, and waiting for a sunny window to have a rest in.
Before we leave you from the adoption center here at the Bay, we're going to talk a little bit about the boutique and what's going on down here for the next 3 weeks. And with us right now is Chris Fox from the Humane Society. Chris, how you doing?
Great.
How are things down here so far?
Well, we've been really busy. It's been exciting. We've had many cats adopted from the window, and we've sold a lot of merchandise.
What's up for sale down here?
Well, basically anything that's in our Nifty Difty catalog that a lot of you have received in the mail or has come with the Toronto Star. We're selling t-shirts, sweatshirts, caps, keychains. Yeah, and they're really great. They're nicely stone-washed, and then there's some other sweatshirts that advertise, well, it just has a dog or a cat on it that are in a comic way. And there's keychains and pens and different pins, and there's lots of neat gift ideas for Christmas.
And all this goes to the Humane Society?
All the proceeds go to help the animals, which is real important for us, especially this time of the year.
A lot of demand on the staff then too.
Sure there is, because we're still recovering from the summer and all the litters of puppies and kittens that came in, and a lot of animals recovering from different viruses, so they're coming into the shelter and ready for adoption. So, you know, the more fundraising we can do at this time of the year, the better it is for us.
So it's no problem to adopt a dog or a cat down here at the window?
Basically, here at the window, it's just cats. And any of the cats that you see in the window are available for adoption. Or if you want more, then come on down to the Toronto Humane Society at 11 River Street. We have lots of them there.
Now, Valerie, can you tell us about the times when folks can come in here and buy some of the merchandise and talk about which cat they would like out of one of the windows?
Sure, okay. Well, we're here at the booth from 9:30 until 9:30 at night, so a long day, but we're here anytime you can come. And adoption, though, is the same hours at the shelter, from 11:30 until 7 p.m. So you can only do the adoptions through then. However, you can view your cats anytime from 8:30 in the morning until 7 at night. So if you see a cat you like on your way to work, you can come by maybe on your lunch hour and go through the adoption process.
Great stuff. Good to know. Thanks very much, Chris.
Thanks, Wallace.
And for Valerie Brown, we'll see you next week. Oh, bring the mic up. We'll see you next week from the Bay windows here on Adopt a Pet.
If you think you might be interested in adopting one of the animals featured on today's Adopt a Pet, please call the adoption hotline number at the Toronto Humane Society, 416-392-9988, and ask about the animal by name. Better yet, visit the shelter located at 11 River Street at the intersection of River and Queen Street East. Adoption hours are weekdays 11:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., Saturdays 11:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and Sundays 11:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. There are many, many animals waiting to be adopted into good homes, so visit the Toronto Humane Society and adopt a friend for life.